Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafasati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. With this recitation of Holy Quran, I welcome all the participants who have joined this webinar, and I also especially offer my gratitude to the colleagues and the presenters who are sitting in Mexico right now at almost midnight. And I welcome all the participants who have joined this webinar. The basic objective of this webinar is to apprise all the participants about the e-commerce platform which are available in the Mexico. In the post-pandemic situation, it has become extremely very important to exploit all those online platforms which offer us to opportunities regarding trade and business. This webinar will not only be covering the e-commerce side, but also it will highlight the opportunities, how to exploit the Latin American markets, especially the Mexico, and the sectors for the time being which are being covered are the textile, sports, and surgical. I hope this is the first webinar, and in this webinar the focus products have been the textile, sports, and surgical. But in coming future, we would be also holding other webinars so that the products which have some potential in the Mexican market would also be covered. This webinar would not also provide the opportunities to explore the Latin markets for our products, but because as the exports to the Latin America, to the Mexico especially, is 94.7 million, and if we look at the products like the chapter 61, that is articles of ready-made garments, home textile, leather products, sports, and surgical are presently being exported to the Mexican market. It is hoped that through this webinar, we not only be able to increase our exports to the Mexico and Latin markets, but also it provide all essential informations to our exporters, manufacturers who are interested to explore the Mexican market. With this brief introduction, now I request Mr. Saidul Rahman, who is our moderator and sitting in Mexico, will proceed with the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear sir. I hope everyone can listen to me very clearly. If somebody has their mics still on, please switch them off so that you can listen to me and everybody else can also listen to me. Just let me start with giving you a very brief introduction to Mexico and Pakistan-Mexico relations. We started our diplomatic relations in 1955. We opened our embassy in Mexico in 1974. We had a commercial section which was closed in 2014, but we reopened February this year. So we have a very vibrant team working with us in the embassy, coordinating all the business related activities. And on the side which will be interested to all of you, I would rather that you listen to it, is Mexico is the 15th largest economy in the world. So you can see and look at the volume of trade which is going on in Mexico. There is around $300 billion import-exports trade volume every year in Mexico. Its population is not larger than Pakistan. We have 120 million people living in Mexico. Its area is bigger than Pakistan. It borders USA, which adds to its significance as an export market for Pakistan. And anybody who has already been exporting their material from various sectors to the USA, they will find this market very attractive. I would also like to give you a brief overview of the sectors, which opportunities we have. For example, in surgical instruments, there is a huge market for Pakistani exporters. Mexico imports in 2009 in the surgical instruments were 15.7 billion. So it's around 16 billion US dollars, whereas Pakistan's export share was only 4 million. So there is a huge gap. Even if we are able to capture around 20% of the market, our share will be more than 20 billion US dollars in Mexican market. So you can have an idea of how big it is. And then coming to the footwear market, where Mexico imports 1.2 billion worth of imports in 2019, whereas Pakistan's export to Mexico were only in thousands. And coming to another very important sector is leather. In leather, although Mexico has some protections imposed in the market to protect its local industry, Mexico imports around 857 million worth of leather products in 2019, whereas our share in Mexico's leather market is only in $100,000. Where we come to the sports goods, in sports goods, Mexico imports 589 million worth of sports goods in 2019, whereas Pakistan's share is only 3.7 million. So from these statistics of 2019, you can have an idea that it's a big market, huge margin. There are two sectors particularly, I would like to say. It's surgical instruments and sports goods, where we don't have any local industry in Mexico. Therefore, there is not a lot of restrictions by the government. There is an open field. You can compete with other international competitors. It's an easy access to the market. If you have good quality, you can come and join in. Whereas we will see by the presenters that there are some restrictions on textile and leather goods, but our presenters will brief you in detail about those issues as well. So from now, I would like to give the floor to Luis Granadas, who will be moderating this session. Further, he will be introducing you with the speakers who are going to present to us in detail all the opportunities which exist, what are the technical details, how the market function, which are the barriers in the market, including tariffs and non-tariff barriers, and how they can assist our makers to import their products into the Mexican markets. Now, Luis, please.
Thank you very much, HOC. First of all, I want to give a brief briefing of the speakers that we have today. So we have Mr. Luis Flores, which is the General Director of Custom Agency and Logistics Company Transferic, with experience in traditional trade and sectors like textile and also logistics. We also have Mr. Roberto Valle, which is an advisor for foreign trade and custom operation for Global Chamber of Business and has expertise in footwear, leathers, and sports goods. He will speak in Spanish. We also have Mrs. Diana León Betancourt, which is the Director of CIDAR, Integral Services of the Regulatory Affairs Directorate. Her area of expertise is medical devices. Also me, which my name is Luis Granados. I am the Trade Development Officer at the Embassy of Pakistan in Mexico, and I have expertise in e-commerce and social network platforms. At the end, we have Mr. Said Malik, which is owner of Amigo International, a successful Pakistani company of dental instruments in Mexico. So to start, the first thing to address is the traditional trade and e-commerce in Mexico. And the first speaker to do so regarding traditional trade process in Mexico will be Mr. Luis Flores.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the Embassy for this invitation. I'm going to talk, as Luis told you, about the traditional importation process of goods, especially textile sector. As you can see in this information, in this slide, the first thing that you need, it's a registration in the RFC. In order to be able to import to Mexico, you need to have a company established in Mexico. For this, you need the RFC and you need the advanced electronic signature. If you want to import to Mexico, either you need to establish or create a Mexican company to do so, or get in touch with a Mexican commercialization company that can do the importation for you. Uh, uh, in this case, the Mexican company needs to be in has paid their taxes to the date that you need to do the importation, and you need to get in touch with a custom broker agent in order to make the importation. Uh, Also, you need to have the company needs to be registered in the importers registry, and you need to have the certificate of origin of the products that you're willing to import to Mexico. And you need to have a commercial invoice in order to check all the taxes that you need to pay. Which would be the taxes that would be the ones that you're going to be paying? First of all, you have the general importation tax. This is determined by the tariff classification. Some of the products pay general importation tax, and some of them are exempt of this tax. Also, depending of the product that you're importing, there can be compensatory fees depending on the product, and this is also on the tariff classification that your product has, depending of the HS code applied for the product. You will also need to pay pre-validation. This is not a very expensive tax, but it is one that you're going to be paying. And also custom processing rights, which you will have to pay, and the value-added tax, which is in the Mexican case, it's 16% of the value of the merchandise. All of these taxes are paid taking into consideration the value of the merchandise at the custom. That means you will have to have the invoice value, and you will have to add the transportation value and the insurance that you pay for the merchandise. With this value, with this custom value, you will consider the taxes. What are the requirements for us to be able to quote for you door-to-door service? Because our transferic group gives the service door-to-door. We will need the collection and delivery address, the origin address and delivery address in Mexico. We will need you to define which transportation needs to be you want to use. There are just two transportations used from Pakistan to Mexico. One of them is by ship, and the other one it's by airplane. It depends on the time and the cost that you want for the product. The ship transportation is cheaper, but the transportation time from Pakistan to Mexico could be around between 30 and 40 days, and you can have in 3 days by plane the products in Mexico. The other information that we will need is the packaging dimensions and weights, because mainly for the airplane option, but we would need packaging dimensions and weights. We would need the invoice or the pre-invoice of the product to calculate taxes, and the technical letter of the product. And this means which would be the specifications of the product. Um, Mainly, this is very useful for the textile sector, because we need the composition of the product in order to get the HS code correctly. Because even though if it's textile, the composition determines the HS code of the product, and you can have different taxes for textiles, even though if they're the same with a blouse or with a shirt or with pants. Even though they're pants, they can be a different HS code regarding the composition of the product. There are, as I told you before, special requirements for textile sector. First of all, every importer needs to be registered at the import register, as I told you before. But also you will need the textile sector register, which is a special register for to import to Mexico. There are some sectors registers like textile, like shoes, like oil, like well, there are a lot of them, but textile sector needs to have a special register in the government. Also, there are estimated prices for the textile, depending on the HS code. But these estimated prices, if you're below the estimated prices, if your invoice has prices below the estimated prices, you will have to, you can also do the importation, but you will have to get a permit from the Ministry of Economy. You will have to make a special process to get this permit from the Ministry of Economy. Also, you will have to have labeling information. It's called NOMS, which is the Mexican norm. According to the HS code classification, you will have to have a special labeling information. This labeling information has to come in Spanish. It has to come. It has to have the composition of the fabric. It has to have the origin or country of producer of origin, and some of other information regarding the HS code. This is very important to consider, because the NOM, or the labeling information, some of them, so the law, the Mexican law establishes that in some cases you will have to sew the label into the product, or depending of how it is commercialized, you will have to have it on the outside of the product. But this, I repeat, it is depending on the HS code of the product itself. Also, you can have there's a special problem. There's a special program, which is the IMEX program. This IMEX program allows you to make temporary importation to Mexico into a factory where you can have the fabric or the product processed, and then export the product in once you have it produce or transform the product. This is very useful. This is a program used mainly in the north part of the country, where you have the maquiladora, which are big factories that import some supplies, transfer them, and export finished products. So this can be used for textile, for sports products, for surgical products, for almost every kind of products. We have this kind of factories at the north part of, mainly at the north part of the country, where you can sell or import temporary the products in order to get to export afterwards finished products. So this is how the importation process works in Mexico. These are we talked about the taxes that you pay, the things that you need to have in order to be able to import to Mexico, and we can help you with all of this. If you need any other information, we will have a question and answer area at the end. Thank you very much, and I'll be here for questions if you have it.
Sure. Hello, everyone there. I'm Mrs. Diana León Betancourt. I come from, I'm sorry, this is too low for me. I come from Ciudad. Ciudad is, can you hear me okay? This volume's okay? Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Well, I have a company of regulatory affairs. So I'm in charge of every documentation in order to get the marketing approval of any health input. But in this case, I'm going to talk about medical devices. Well, we are going to start talking about the how is the market in healthcare in Mexico. Basically, the market is divided in government market and private market. Private market, you know, are the hospitals that, yes, the hospitals that any persons that can afford this hospital goes there and get pharmaceuticals and services, and also the insurance. If you have the money to pay an insurance, you can go to this hospital. And the government sector is divided on there's someone speaking there, but it's not clear. But
you can ask them to switch the speakers off.
Yes, could you switch off your speakers? Well, so the government area is divided on IMSS, that is IMSS. Yeah, that it is that sector gets in charge of the employees of the government, and the sector of the other employees that are in private sector goes to IMSS. And there's another part that is called Seguro Popular Security, and nowadays it's called INSABI. All of these are independent, so all of them makes their own tenders in order to get the goods. So if you want to sell to this these sectors, you need to get a marketing approval from COFEPRIS. COFEPRIS is the regulatory affairs agency of Mexico. It's part of the Ministry of Health. And in order to get this approval, you need to classify your medical device. There's 6 categories. That is medical equipment, prosthetics, orthotics, and functional aids, diagnostic agents, dental supplies, surgical healing materials, and sanitary products. Sorry. And you need to put your product in any of these categories. And also, in order to know what kind of documentation you require to get your marketing approval, you need to classify your product in, there's a list of, in the regulations, there is an agreement where there is a list of the medical device that doesn't require a marketing authorization, because nowadays they are not classified as medical device. There are also a list of class 1 low risk, and there comes the class 1, class 2, and class 3. Class 1 are the medical devices that are not going to be into the body. Class 2 are the, in general, because you can get more information to classify your medical device, but in general, class 2 is the medical devices that are going to be in your body no more than 30 days. And class 3 are the medical devices that are going to stay in your body more than 30 days. Okay? So these are the laws that I was talking. The first law that you have to take in consideration is the general health law. In this law, you can find the categories of medical device and all explanation. And in the health input regulation, you can find the requirements, the documentation requirements that you need to fulfill in order to get the market authorization, import license, renewal, everything. Also, you have to take in consideration these good manufacturing practices for quality verification for medical devices. This is the NOM 241, and the annexure for manufacture of radiopharmaceuticals, and also take in consideration the labeling law. There's 3 important agreements in medical devices. One agreement is the equivalence agreement. So if your product, it doesn't matter from where is the origin of your product, where is the product manufactured. But if you have registration in FDA, in Health Canada, or in Japan, you could get advantage of this agreement, because this agreement is in general says that if you have the registration in those countries, you can be in an expedite process that you can get the market authorization in less months than the order. So it's a very important agreement, because divides the process to get a marketing approval in a standard and in a faster way to get the marketing approval. There's also this agreement that is very related with my previous partner here that talks about the importation. In this agreement, you get a list of HS codes of products that are subjected to control by the Ministry of Health. So this is a very important agreement. If you know the HS code, you can search in this agreement if you are going to need to have a market authorization of a previous import license. So, and the third agreement is a list. This agreement has, yes, in the third agreement, you get the list of the medical devices that are considered low risk, and then the list of the medical devices that are not considered medical device anymore. So this is the regulation that mainly you have to get in consideration. You have to take it in consideration. Well, these are the steps that you need to take in consideration if you're going to get a marketing authorization. First of all, as I told you, could you help me, Luis, to move this? Oh, no, this more. Sorry. Okay, yeah. We go to the previous one. There. Thank you. Well, first of all, you have to classify your product. Once you have the classification of your product, you have, like Mr. Luis says, you have to appoint a legal representative of your company. This is the best way because many of the medical device goes directly to a distributor or get in touch with a Mexico distributor, and the distributor is the one that applies for the marketing authorization. But in medical device, you have to see that you could have many distributors if you own the registration, if you are the owner of the registration. And in order to be the owner of your registration, you need to have a legal representative here or a branch of your company here. So this is very important. After that, you have to demonstrate your home country. So you have to get a free sale certificate from your country where it has to mention that you are going to export to Mexico. I forget that after getting the classification of your medical device, it's also important to know in Mexico you can get a marketing approval for a group of medical devices. If the medical device are manufactured by the same owner, has the same purpose, like forceps, you can get the registration of 10, 12 forceps that are made for the same purpose and by the same manufacturer. And it's very important to know the code, the catalog number of your product, because this is it's a very important data that you are going to give to the documentations, and it's going to be very it's a key number in order to import the right products to Mexico. Well, we're going to continue. Here in designate the distributor, as I say, you can have many distributors if you have an owner of your market authorization. So here you have to select a distributor that is already certified by COFEPRIS and has a sanitary responsible person. So after that, then you have to say my medical device has registration from FDA, from Canada, or from Japan, and then your process goes to the expedite process or goes to the standard process. This the difference of these ways is the kind of documentation that you are going to submit in a dossier. Also, you have to take in consideration that the labeling has to be as per the Mexico law and in Spanish. All the dossier must be in Spanish. And well, you have to submit to COFEPRIS. And in the next slide, we can see the timelines of these procedures. If your medical device is a class 1 low risk, you can get the market authorization from 3 to 6 months. If you have a class 1, 2, and 3 in a standard pathway, you can get the market authorization in more than 12 months. But if you go by an equivalence agreement pathway, you can get it in 6 to 8 months. And if you go, if you use the equivalence agreement but your medical device has a registration in Japan, you can get it in 3 to 6 months. And also there's a possibility, there are companies that are called the third-party review. They are already registered by COFEPRIS and they are approved to review your dossier, previously COFEPRIS, and give the determination of your dossier faster, and then you will get the market authorization in 3 to 6 months. Here there's more procedures that you can do in the maintenance of your marketing authorization and modification, renewals. Your marketing authorization has 5 years of validation, of validity. An import license is from 3 to 4 weeks to get the approval. And more or less the government fees goes from 500 to 1,100 US dollars. And if you hire a third party, the third party can charge $3,000 to $6,000. So that's all. I'm here for any questions. Thank you very much.
No, it's going to be in Spanish, and you have to explain to them to switch up your mics so that everybody is ready. Tell them that it's going to be Spanish and then translation. You can plug it off so that directly your laptops. Yeah.
So the next speaker is Mr. Roberto Valle. He will explain leather, sports goods, and footwear, and he will do it in Spanish. I will support him with translation.
¿Qué tal? Mi nombre es Roberto Valle. Y pues bueno, me agradezco la asistencia de Luis y agradezco esta oportunidad de poderles explicar esta parte de lo que son pieles y calzado.
He wants to thank us all for being here, and he wants to explain all the things related to leather, footwear, and sports goods.
Ok, mi nombre es Roberto Valle y soy de la empresa Global Chambers of Business, en donde tenemos nosotros una agencia aduanal que damos asistencia en todo y a la asesoría de todo lo concerniente al comercio internacional de estos dos sectores, principalmente.
Mr. Roberto Valle belongs to Global Chamber of Business, which is a custom agent that works with this kind of items, leather, sports goods, and footwear.
Ok, para entrar en materia, tenemos el sector de pieles o cueros. Y este es un sector relativamente que tiene un potencial importante.
So the first thing to address is leathers, and Mr. Roberto is mentioning that it's a really relevant item to address.
Ya que este es todo lo que son las pieles y cueros, la mayoría están exentos del pago de arancel.
This is relevant because almost all kind of leathers are exempt of any tariff.
Y únicamente se paga lo que es el IVA.
And you need just to pay, which is the VAT of taxes.
Asimismo, es el producto que tiene mayor oportunidad de comercio, es las pieles que ya tienen un proceso de curtido.
So he's mentioning that the best leathers to export are the ones that are already prepared.
Ya que pieles que son cuando están recién sacados del animal tienen un poquito más de riesgo sanitario.
He says that this is because the leathers that are freshly taken from the animals has more like health risks.
Y actualmente este tipo de pieles que son wet blue, con el proceso de tanino de wet blue, es por lo general el producto que más se importa a México.
So one of the main leathers that Mexico imports in matter of leathers is the wet blue leather.
También tenemos que a partir de este tipo de piel hay una gran demanda de este producto, ya sea en el sector del calzado, el sector automotriz, el sector vestido, en donde tiene una gran aceptación y solamente se pide wet blue porque el color ya se les da aquí en México.
So he's saying that this kind of leather, wet blue, is highly demanded on the Mexican market, even by the automotive sector, which always use this kind of leather by the interior of the cars.
Tenemos algunos datos importantes. Uno de los principales productos que se importan de Pakistán es las pieles de bovino, de búfalo y principalmente estos dos productos que se traen de Pakistán a México.
So Mr. Roberto is saying that he has numbers of the main leathers that are imported to Mexico are of buffalo and wet blue.
Y bovin leather.
And also beef leather.
También en el tema de pieles, la mayoría, en algunas ocasiones se hace la negociación Pakistán y México, pero también se hace por un tercer país que es Estados Unidos, en quien es el país de origen es Pakistán, y Estados Unidos lo compra a Pakistán y nos los vende a nosotros a México.
He mentioned that sometimes people import from the US these kind of leathers for them to then export them from USA to Mexico.
Y la composición, lo que es la clasificación arancelaria de las pieles en México se diferencian por los diferentes tipos de procesos de curtido y por el tipo de animal.
So in Mexico, the classification of the letters is regarding to the type of letter and it depends on the HS code.
Así es. Y en realidad cualquier duda que ustedes tengan con respecto a la importación de pieles, sin lugar a duda podemos asistirlos en todo momento.
He's saying that if you have any doubt or any question regarding to letters, please ask him. He will gladly answer the questions.
Yes. Y ahora tenemos lo que es el sector calzado. El sector calzado es un sector sensible para el gobierno mexicano.
So now addressing the footwear section, Mr. Roberto is saying that footwear is a sensitive item for Mexican government.
Y está en todo momento monitoreando el valor comercial declarado en los pedimentos.
A Mexican government is always checking on the commercial value of items of sportwear, of footwear items.
Por esa razón, para poder importar calzado, tienes que tener el padrón general de importadores y el padrón sectorial.
So if you want to export footwear, you need to be registered on a special section which is Padrón Sectorial.
Y también para evitar la subvaluación, todo lo que es el sector calzado tiene un precio estimado.
So in order for the footwear not to be under the price, there is an estimate price.
Y con eso, a la hora de poderlo declarar, si está por debajo de este precio estimado, se tiene que hacer un permiso previo, se tiene que solicitar ante Secretaría de Economía un permiso previo.
So if the price when import is below the Mexican prices, you need to do a special process in Secretary of Economy.
Sin duda, el sector calzado es un producto de una gran área de oportunidad en México.
No doubt, footwear section is a high opportunity sector.
Actualmente las importaciones que se registran son el calzado sintético que tienen corte superior sintético.
Now the most demanded footwear item is the synthetic fiber-made footwear.
Y también los que tienen el corte superior, el upper, de textil.
And also the footwear that has the textile uppercut.
Y, pues, y al final es el de calzado de cuero, de piel.
And at the end there is the leather footwear.
Los principales productos que se importan de Pakistán a México es calzado para dama.
The main items in regarding of footwear that are imported to Mexico is footwear for ladies.
Ladies y calzado para hombres o jóvenes.
And footwear for men and young men.
También tenemos que en el sector calzado, el principal país de origen es Pakistán, tiene una relación directa una relación comercial directa, pero también España, Italia, Alemania y Estados Unidos compran el calzado en Pakistán y lo importan a México.
Mr. Roberto is saying that footwear is mainly imported by USA, Italy, Spain, and Mexico.
Germany, sure.
And also Germany.
Y también lo que son las partes para calzado, que son los cortes, también es un área de gran oportunidad en México, que no es necesario estar dados de alta en este padrón sectorial.
So if you want to export to Mexico specific shoes, parts, not really the whole part, you don't have to be registered in this padrón sectorial.
El calzado al final del camino es un producto que México importa principalmente de China y creemos que la mano de obra que puede generarse en Pakistán puede ser una área de oportunidad en México.
At the end, the main trader about footwear to Mexico is China. But Mr. Roberto is saying that he believes that the Pakistani manufacturer would be key.
Okay. El otro sector, que es Sport Goods, es muy amplio. Es muy amplio porque puede ser artículos deportivos, como puede ser un balón. Y cuando se trata de un balón de fútbol, no tiene ningún padrón sectorial, solamente paga un arancel del 15% y un IVA del 16%.
He said in terms of sports goods, there is a wide range of items. For example, regarding the soccer balls, you need just to pay a tariff of 15% and taxes, which are 16%.
Ahora, si son productos de la industria del vestido, como short, t-shirts y otros productos, esos ya tienen un padrón sectorial.
Now, if there is some kind of sports apparel, such as shorts or other kind of sport apparel, now it would apply some other padrón sectorial textil, which is the main concern of the item.
También si se tratan de ese tipo de productos del vestido, se requeriría también un padrón sectorial y un precio estimado.
And if these apparel sports goods are registered in this padrón sectorial, you will need to follow the estimated prices as well.
Ahora tenemos que, si ustedes en dado momento llegaran a requerir un precosteo de exportación e importación a México, sin lugar a duda lo podemos elaborar para hacer un precálculo de impuestos, gastos, etcétera, ya puesto en México, y a partir de ahí ver ese punto de equilibrio, si es negocio.
So Mr. Roberto is saying that if any of you have any inquiry regarding these sports goods, you can contact him to make a pre-quotation and to calculate expenses and other costs.
Y cualquier duda que pudieran ustedes llegar a tener con respecto a la clasificación de lo que es pieles, calzado y productos deportivos, sin lugar a duda pueden contar con nuestro apoyo a través de la embajada que nos está abriendo esta oportunidad para poderlos apoyar en todo momento.
Also, Mr. Roberto is saying that if you have any inquiry regarding the classification either of leather, sports goods, or footwear, you can reach the embassy and we can contact Mr. Roberto to release all these kind of doubts.
Y la tramitación, en dado caso que se llegaran a requerir de alguna tramitación, de algún permiso o la logística, los fletes y despacho aduanero, sin lugar a dudas les podemos apoyar con ese servicio.
Mr. Roberto is also saying that he can support any of you in terms of custom agency clearance and other kind of related issues.
Muchas gracias por su atención y me encuentro muy atento a las preguntas que pudieran darse en este momento. Estoy aquí al pendiente de sus dudas.
He wants to thank you for listening and he is aware of any questions afterwards.
Thank you, sir.
So I would just take the floor from Luis Granados for a couple of minutes so that because our session was in Spanish, I would like to sum up the things which our speaker told about sports goods and leatherware. Leatherware is a protected sector in Mexico. Therefore, we have to be a little bit in detail about this when you are exporting your product to Mexico. If your product has a price which is lower than the product which is produced in Mexico, then the government is going to charge you the money. So there you have to be particular about your pricing when you are exporting your footwear. The good thing is that there is a lot of import from Pakistan, although it is indirectly being sent to Mexico. Most of our product is being bought in Italy, in Spain, in Germany and USA, and then it is resent to Mexico. If you are sending those products through those countries to Mexico, you have the opportunity, you can get in touch with our speaker so that you can send it directly to Mexico. This will help you avoid your costing, extra costs, and this will also put you directly in relationship with your customers here in Mexico. About the sports goods, there is a very simple procedure regarding the sports goods. You have a tariff of 15%, and then you have the GST tax of 16%. That's it, and you can export your products to the local market in Mexico. The only thing which we get generally from the local market is that our footballs, they leak. So there are many complaints from the local market. You have to be particular. If you have a good quality, you can control the pressure in the footballs. You are most welcome to the Mexican market. There is a huge potential. We have Liga Mexico. The Mexican people love the sports. However, if you are producing sports apparel, then you have to take into consideration all those limitations which are placed on the textile sector. The sports wear comes under the textile sector. You would have to register your company through a representative here in Mexico. The presentation has already been given in detail by our presenter. So I would now come back to Luis Granados so that we can proceed forward to the e-commerce platform opportunities in Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we will specifically address what are the e-commerce terms in Mexico. Now that we have already reached these three sectors, The first thing to take into consideration is the global landscape of the e-commerce in Mexico. So as you can see in this chart, from 2014 to 2018, we have an exponential growth that takes us almost to $803 million. So e-commerce has been growing a lot in these years. And for the big picture in Mexico, we have the top 3 retailers in this e-commerce issue. The first party is Amazon, the second is Mercado Libre, and the third is Walmart with a more little share. Amazon has become Mexico's largest e-commerce retailer in 2018, taking the 36.54% of the market share. So first of all, if you want to make this process for exporting to e-commerce in Mexico, you need to follow these Incoterm rules. An Incoterm is basically a document that tells even buyer and seller, in this case importer and exporter, which are the laws in terms of payments that they need to follow. In this case, expenses, taxes, and permits and certifications. So it is important to mention that there are other business options in which expenses, taxes, and permit certifications are reduced through other Incoterms. So first of all, it is important for the exporter to put in contact with the importer in order to find the best Incoterm for the transaction. There is this chart that shows you which are the main Incoterms that may apply to you. Please check it in detail. And also you have this general step-by-step breakthrough. From the fulfillment options, you have either the platform you decided to use. We will discuss this fulfillment thing in next slides. But you also, it is recommended that you may establish a trading company, and it should be registered in the Federal Register of Constituents, which is the RFC. There is all these steps that you need to take. You can also ask for a quotation of the custom agent in terms of logistics. You also need to choose the products and to send a technical sheet to the about the merchandise. It may include photographs, certification, and samples in order for them to classify the merchandise and to know which tariff fraction would apply. According to the tariff fraction, which is the HS code, it establishes the taxes that must be paid and to comply with the regulations and tariff restrictions depending on the HS code. And also at the end, you need to cost allocation in Mexico in order to establish a profit, to know what is your range of profit depending on the item, which also depends on the HS code. So we wanted to address the Amazon as the main platform of business, mainly worldwide. You need to comply with these 5 steps in order for you to sell on Amazon. However, there have been some complications between Amazon platform and Pakistani sellers in terms of the point number 4, which is a local bank in your country that supports what's known as ACH, Automated Clearing House, which is best known as wire transfers. So there is this complex situation between Amazon and Pakistani sellers. However, there's an alternative to e-commerce platform. So there are these third-party logistic companies that are presented as a solution for this complex situation with Amazon and with any other e-commerce platform. So sellers abroad would make a shipping to specific warehouses in the US border owned by Mexican logistic companies. So when you send this merchandise, it won't be eligible for any tax or duty, but a single custom fee or transit products. When merchandise is cleared on customs by these companies, it will also be sold and delivered by third-party companies, which is also known as fulfillment by a platform. We will see this in the upcoming slides, or via independent marketing campaigns on social media, which we also will need to check in the upcoming slides. Also, the payment method should be coordinated with both parties, the Pakistani seller and the marketer company. So Amazon and almost any e-commerce platform uses these two kinds of fulfillment, which is fulfillment by platform or fulfillment by merchant. Fulfillment by platform is mainly a method of selling that you will need to avoid all kind of obstacles, logistic obstacles mainly, and the platform may be in charge of doing all this kind of promotion, selling, delivering, paying, pricing, returns, and everything around your product. However, in the other hand, the fulfillment by merchant is a method of selling in platforms in which seller lists the products on the platform, but the seller manages all the storage, shipping, customer support, and everything without a third party. In this case, as long as Pakistan is a faraway country from Mexico, it is recommended if you want to put your stuff on e-commerce to use the fulfillment by the platform, because otherwise your shipments will take up to 2 or 3 months and the costs will increase for the reasons of logistics. So this is basically a chart that shows how the fulfillment by platform works, which is first the seller sends the products to the platform fulfillment center. The platform sells the products. The customer orders the product on the platform. The platform ships the items to the customer, and at last the platform customer service would deliver to the door to the customer that bought the item. So you don't have to worry about anything. Here in this chart, you can also see that most of the sellers are using fulfillment by platform, because in this way they avoid all kind of obstacles in selling and delivering and everything around the products. However, there's a 6% of sellers that prefer to fulfill by their own, that shipping and everything by their own. So if you want to either sell from Mexico or any other platform, you need to optimize these sales. All your customers in the Mexican market will be speaking Spanish. So this is our main language. It would be difficult if you don't manage on a native level this kind of language. However, it's not as simple as translating your copy or your description to Spanish and then paste it into your campaign or your platform. You need to start from scratch by finding the most relevant keywords and adding them into your listing copy. So this may be a work of a digital marketer, which also you can hire. And we will see that if you don't speak Spanish fluently, it would be wise to hire a listing copywriter. A copywriter is a person that you hire in order for you to have someone who speaks natively Spanish and that will help to sell and to promote your products in your target's language. So regarding the digital marketing, there are some steps that are important for you to consider. The first one is to define your target, to whom you want to sell. The second point is to address social media. These don't sell, but these generate prospects through campaigns. Also, your company must be on LinkedIn. This would give the customer more confidence about your company in order for them to buy from you. Also, you need to check on the Google Analytics, which is basically searching patterns. This is also known as SEO, search engine optimization, that also your digital marketer who you may hire, he would know about this. And at last, you may need to do some benchmarking, which means you need to have a look at your competitors' work and to see if your competitor is doing anything new or anything that is working for them and may work for you as well. About product listing optimization, as I was saying before, the SEO strategy is very important. People want more eyes on their listing and people want more sales, but never stop to think that maybe the product listing may be needing a little bit of more work. So to fully optimize your listing products, you need to use the keywords to create meaningful relationship with your customers. For example, if you are trying to sell a soccer ball, in Mexico, we don't call soccer ball to the soccer balls. We call them football balls because we don't even use the word soccer. So these kind of specific things may be under the work of this digital marketer you may hire. And these are the 6 most important factors for your product listing optimization. The product titles, as I was saying, if you put soccer ball, maybe you are not gonna sell because Mexicans won't look for soccer balls, they look for footballs. Also, the product images, they may comply with the requirements of each platform. Key product features, you need to put highlight on the best things that your product is offering to the market. And you need to check on product reviews and product ratings. For this, we want to share with you some tools that may help you to do some product research. And these tools are Unicorn Smash Product, Jungle Scout Product Research, and the Startup Bros Product Research, which are web pages that will help you improving your optimization for the Mexican market. Now, addressing social media and e-commerce, we have 4 main cornerstones. The first one is WhatsApp. What can you do with WhatsApp in terms of e-commerce? The answer is C-commerce. C-commerce stands for conversational commerce, which means you may want to hire a company that builds an actual bot for you and that may have the direct contact with your customer. On Facebook, you can create your company's profile so you can display your items and your products on Facebook, and almost 79% of the people have a Facebook profile. So there is a big market on Facebook. On Twitter, you will need to find some special opinion leaders that make out reviews of your products. For example, there are people that has maybe thousands of followers that maybe you want them to talk about your product, to recommend your product, to review. And also, you have YouTube, which is the main user experience platform that you may upload some reviews or product testimonies on video, and maybe your customers will feel more confident about the products that you are selling. Now, regarding to Facebook Market, recently, Facebook opened this section of the platform, which is Marketplace, which is a growing community of buyers that goes directly to this section of Facebook just to see what is on sale. So users can browse the whole marketplace, select categories, or check in on groups, and they may find your product interesting. Each option tailors the product shown to be specific users' likes and interest on Facebook. Also, an important thing about Facebook Market is that you can invest on Facebook to promote your items, and they would be tailored promoted because you can select the target on Facebook you want to address. So in this moment, we will go to Mr. Said Malik, which is a success story in the Mexican market with his company, Amigo Internacional. Of course, I am open to questions at the end if you have any question in terms of e-commerce.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मेरे अजीज दोस्तों हमवतनों पाकिस्तानियों. If you like, I can speak Spanish. If you like, I can speak also in English, in Urdu, in Punjabi, because I belong from Sialkot, Pakistan. So I think it's better I can explain you everything in Urdu. So in this case, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं कि मैं यहाँ पे मैक्सिको में राउंड अबाउट 1986 से यहाँ पे आया हुआ हूँ और 1987 से मैंने बिजनेस अपना यहाँ पे स्टार्ट किया हुआ है। तो पहली चीज मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि मैं माशाल्लाह मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने बहुत सक्सेसफुल यहाँ पे किया हुआ है और मैं किसी किस्म का किसी भाई से जेलस नहीं हूँ। मुझे कोई भी क्वेश्चन, कोई भी आपने इंफॉर्मेशन लेनी हो, मैं आपको बहुत अच्छी तरह सही तरीके से लीगली सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दे सकता हूं विदाउट एनी इंटरेस्ट। मेरा इंटरेस्ट सिर्फ ये है कि मेरे पाकिस्तानी बिजनेस करें, सक्सेसफुल हों, मेरे मुल्क को फायदा हो। मेरा इंटरेस्ट सिर्फ ये है। मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने अपनी बारगाह से बहुत नवाजा है, मैं यहाँ बहुत सक्सेसफुल हूँ और सबसे पहला पाकिस्तानी मैं हूँ जिसने यहाँ पे डेंटल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को मुकम्मल रेंज के साथ इंट्रोड्यूस कराया। मैं इस बारे में, स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में, सर्जिकल, डेंटल, मैनिक्योर, पेडिक्योर, इस तरह की जो भी कोई आपको इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए पाकिस्तान की ट्रेड के मुतालिक, यहाँ के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को फॉलो करने के लिए जो भी आपको प्रॉब्लम्स पेश आती हैं या कोई क्वेश्चन आपके ज़हन में है, तो मैं आपको मुकम्मल तरीके से गाइड कर सकता हूँ इन उर्दू, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे रह रहा हूँ। आई एम मैक्सिकन passport holder, so I can speak Spanish very well, so also I can speak English very well, but मुझे खुशी है कि मैं आपके साथ उर्दू में बात कर रहा हूँ। तो इस सिलसिले में ये है कि यहाँ पे मेडिकल और हमारे पाकिस्तान में जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं उनको एक ही कैटेगरी में वो किया गया है, हमने उसको बाइंड किया हुआ है, सर्जिकल के नाम से हम कहते हैं, जिसमें हमारे मैनिक्योर, पेडिक्योर वो भी आते हैं, सर्जिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स भी आते हैं, ऑर्थोडोंटिक वो अपना आर्थोपेडिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स भी आते हैं, डेंटल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स भी आते हैं पाकिस्तान में। इसको हमने एक नाम दिया हुआ है सर्जिकल ग्रुप्स, लेकिन नहीं, हम जब पाकिस्तान से बाहर आते हैं तो मैक्सिको में इनको 3-4 डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स में डिवाइड कर दिया गया है। डेंटल एक डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्री है, डेंटल एक अलग शोबा कंसीडर किया जाता है, जिसमें ऑर्थोडोंटिक, जिसमें एक्सट्रैक्टिंग, हर किस्म की जो डेंटल प्रोडक्ट्स हैं डेंटल के मुतालिक वो इसमें कंसीडर की जाती हैं। मेडिकल में आता है सर्जिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, जो कि हॉस्पिटल में हम यूज करते हैं, जिसको हम सर्जिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स कहते हैं, वो आते हैं, उसका एक अलग से शोबा है। उसके बाद आ जाता है आर्थोपेडिक, वो एक अलग से एक इनकी कैटेगरी है। उसके बाद आ जाती है मैनिक्योर, पेडिक्योर, ये एक अलग से कैटेगरी यहाँ पे डिफाइन की हुई है इन्होंने, जिसको हम अलग-अलग कैटेगरीज में इनके साथ बिजनेस करते हैं। जो डेंटल का काम करता है वो मैनिक्योर पेडिक्योर का काम नहीं करता है यहाँ मैक्सिको में, वो सिर्फ डेंटल करता है। जो सर्जिकल का करता है वो अप्रोक्सीमेटली डेंटल को टच कर लेता है। जो ऑर्थोपेडिक करते हैं वो ना डेंटल करते हैं ना वो सर्जिकल करते हैं। तो इस तरीके से इन्होंने इन सब चीजों को डिफाइन किया हुआ है सर्जिकल में। अब आ जाइए स्पोर्ट्स में, जो कि मैंने यहाँ पे बहुत लंबा अरसा काम किया है। चाइना चूंकि अब आ गया मार्केट में, इस वजह से मैं उसको नहीं कर रहा। उसमें एक प्रॉब्लम बहुत ज्यादा है मेरे पाकिस्तानी फेलोज की तरफ से, वो ये है कि वो एक स्लो लीकेज आती है फुटबॉल में। स्लो लीकेज वो हमारे मेरे जो सियालकोट फेलोज हैं वो उसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते। वो 4%, 5%, 3%, 2% रहती है, लेकिन नहीं रहनी चाहिए। चाइना के फुटबॉल में नहीं आती। मैंने जो फुटबॉल यहाँ पे 7 साल एक ही क्लाइंट से बिजनेस किया है, मैं उसको कंप्लीट नहीं कर सका। फोर्टनाइटली मेरा हाई क्यूबिक कंटेनर यहाँ पे आता था, मैं सेल करता था। 2007 में मैंने बंद कर दिया क्योंकि चाइना ने प्राइसेस में मुझे बीट कर दिया, मैं उसको फॉलो नहीं कर सका। इसलिए कि मेरे फुटबॉल में 1% भी स्लो लीकेज नहीं थी, 1% भी स्लो लीकेज नहीं थी। मैंने यहाँ पे सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये जो प्रोमोशनल बॉल्स है उनका काम किया है, मेरे से काम खत्म नहीं हुआ। लेकिन मेरे दोस्तों, मेरे भाइयों, मैं आपसे ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, सिर्फ और सिर्फ ईमानदारी से काम करो तो यहाँ पे आप सक्सेसफुल हो। चाहे वो स्पोर्ट्स में आ जाओ, चाहे वो लेदर में आ जाओ, चाहे वो टेक्सटाइल में आप आ जाओ, चाहे वो आप इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स में आ जाओ, यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम, यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम। मैक्सिको की मार्केट बहुत बड़ी है। दो चीजें इसमें आपने नोट करनी है। नंबर 1 कि यहाँ पे लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट, ये लोग बहुत ही मुश्किल से लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट पे काम करते हैं, लेकिन इनसे क्रेडिट करने के लिए आपको अपनी जिम्मेदारी पे काम करना होता है। किसी भी क्लाइंट के साथ जब क्रेडिट, इनिशियली तौर पे आप क्रेडिट मत कीजिए, उसको देखें, उसको परखें, उसके बाद आप उसको क्रेडिट भी दे दें, ठीक है। और दूसरा, अपनी क्वालिटी पे जोर देंगे तो यहाँ पे काम हो सके, अदरवाइज आप यहाँ सक्सेसफुल नहीं है। मैं यहाँ पे जो काम करता हूँ, मैं बिल्कुल गारंटी के साथ करता हूँ। मैं यहाँ बैठा हुआ हूँ, मेरे पास कंप्लेन, मुझे सिर्फ ऑन द 1 फोन कॉल मुझे कंप्लेन आ जाती है, लेकिन अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मुझे कंप्लेन नहीं आती। मैं अपनी हर चीज की गारंटी देता हूँ, इसलिए मैं सक्सेसफुल हूं। आप भी आइए, यहाँ पे आए, बिजनेस करें, पाकिस्तान से बैठ के बिजनेस करें, लेकिन ईमानदारी के साथ करेंगे, यू विल बी सक्सेसफुल। ये मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है। काम बहुत है, करने वाले आप हों सही। ये मैं आपको ये सिर्फ ये बताना चाहता हूँ। मैं 30 ईयर्स से यहाँ पे काम कर रहा हूँ और मेरा सियालकोट से ताल्लुक है। मेरा नाम साजिद बशीर मलिक है। पाकिस्तान में मेरी फैक्ट्री का नाम है सियालकोट में एक्मी एंटरप्राइजेस। मेरे बहुत सारे बिजनेस फेलोज उसको जानते होंगे, मुझे बाय नेम शायद ना जानते हो, लेकिन एक्मी एंटरप्राइजेस को जानते जरूर होंगे, ठीक है जी। तो यहाँ पे मैं जो अपने ट्रेडमार्क जो है, मेरा ट्रेडमार्क रजिस्टर्ड है, वो टीबीएस के नाम से है। टीबीएस का मतलब ये है, तवक्कल, बशीर इज माय फादर्स नेम एंड साजिद इज माय नेम। टीबीएस, ये मेरा पाकिस्तान में भी रजिस्टर्ड है, ये मेरा मैक्सिको में भी रजिस्टर्ड है, ये मेरा यूएसए में भी रजिस्टर्ड है। मैं अपने ही नाम से यहाँ पे कर रहा हूँ काम। ये मेरे, आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि मुझे अपने लोगों की, अपने नाम की रिस्पेक्ट है। मैं उसको यहाँ पे प्रमोट कर रहा हूँ, इसलिए आप भी करें, जरूर काम करें। यहाँ पे बहुत चांसेस है। मुझे बहुत खुशी होगी कि मैं किसी पाकिस्तानी भाई के काम आ सकूं, किसी को अच्छा मशवरा दे सकूं। तो मेरी आपसे गुजारिश है कि कोई क्वेश्चन, किसी किस्म का कोई क्वेश्चन आप मेरे से पूछें, लीगल क्वेश्चन, जो भी कस्टम के मुतालिक हो, नो प्रॉब्लम, रजिस्ट्रेशन के मुतालिक हो, नो प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि मैंने खुद जाती तौर पर सब कुछ ये किया हुआ और कर रहा हूं। मुझे किसी एजेंट की, किसी इन बिटवीन किसी तीसरे शख्स की जरूरत नहीं है। मैं हर तरीके से आपके साथ कोऑपरेट करने को तैयार हूं। और माशाल्लाह, आप ये समझें कि आपका एक भाई साजिद मलिक मैक्सिको सिटी में बैठा है। थ्रू एम्बेसी आप मेरे साथ कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, एनी टाइम। यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम, एवरीबॉडी। थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। अस्सलाम।
So now we will have a session of question and answers. We have gathered some of your questions, so we invite Mr. Luis Flores to please come and answer some of the questions.
Thank you, Luis. The first question that I have is, how would you suggest that we should penetrate Mexican market, considering there are language barriers and other duties which are applicable on our products? Well, there are a number of ways of doing it. One of them, it's like the previous speaker said, it's to open a subsidiary of your company in Mexico. This way you can establish in Mexico, get the permits needed for the importation of your products. Regarding if it's surgical equipment, if it's leather, if it's shoes, if it's textile, anything, you get the permits and operate from here. Send the merchandise from Pakistan to Mexico into your company, get the custom clearance, and then sell to anyone here in Mexico. The other one is to look for Mexican distributors. These distributors need to have all the permits, but it can be done. You just need to sell FOB or CIF in a Mexican port, and from there on, the distributors make the custom clearance and sell the product in Mexico. The other one that you could use is to have a commercial representative in Mexico. We offer that service, and we can help you to look into the market, to know the market, and to have potential buyers into the market. This way, you do not have to spend a lot, and you can have like an in-house representative in Mexico. Those are the options that you have to send into Mexico, but it is very important to have someone in Mexico that can guide you in the importation or exportation process from door to door, because if not, you will have somewhere problems. The other option is, as Luis told you, using e-commerce. However, you will have to take into the consideration that even though that you sell through e-commerce, you will have to comply all the registers, all the taxes, everything. You will be needing everything in order to import the product. The buyer, if it's textile, the buyer would need sector registry, importer registry, and this is considering any kind of product, surgical, leather, textile. You will have to comply to all of the laws in Mexico. Well, the importer will have to comply. So it is very important to know that merchandise that goes over $1,000 you would need a custom broker in order to make the custom clearance, and the importer would need to comply with all of these laws. This is the first question. The second one, is it possible to provide all interested parties the importation and taxation processes to Mexico for sports clothing and reading? Yes, we can do that. The main or the key part regarding the importation of products, any kind of product, is the HS code classification. Each product needs to be classified by a specialist, which we have in-house, an in-house specialist, that the only thing that he does is to classify and determine the HS code of the product. With the HS code, you will, as I told you before, you will have the taxes that you will have to pay, and you will have the registries and all the things that you will have to comply with in order to make the custom clearance. So it is very important to get all the information, all the technical information and photographs of the product in order for us to make a correct HS code classification and have the custom clearance without any additional cost. Because sometimes if you don't have all the information, or you don't have all the things needed for the importation, the two things can happen. The first one is the product can stay in the custom for a long time with costs, warehousing costs, and the other one is that some of the merchandise can be returned to the country because it cannot be imported to Mexico. So these are the two things. We can give you the information regarding the importation requirements for each kind of products, not only for clothing, for any kind of products that you need to, or you're wishing to export to Mexico. We can do it. I just need you to write me and send me information of the product, photos and technical information, and we can help you with this. Please let me know if the questions are answered, and if you need anything else, I'm here.
Hello. Well, the questions I have is the first. How could we get connected with importers of tools of hairdressers? Well, distributor special tools of, in this case, beauty. With the embassy, also you can get in touch with many distributors that want to import this kind of products. The second, what are the suggested way for exporter of surgical instruments to increase their instruments export to Mexico? Well, to increase their instruments, as Luis say, you have to know the market and the requirements, the sales of the products, and maybe identify the products that that has less competitors, and improve. Well, try the first to sell here, basically, in my mind, is to have a legal representative, because the legal representative is the one that could apply here for import license, for marketing approval, to have a customs agency or a logistics partner, and also for the regulatory affairs, get a good consultant. I can help you, obviously. The third, it has been a big hurdle in moving forward to register a medical device. Is there any alternative? No. Obviously, there is a illegal market in Mexico, but if you want to sell correctly and if big quantities, you have to do by the legal way, and that is getting the registration of your medical device.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मुझे 3 क्वेश्चंस पूछे हैं दोस्तों ने। नंबर 1 क्वेश्चन टू साजिद सर, विच वीजा वी नीड टू स्टार्ट बिजनेस इन मैक्सिको। जी, इसमें आपको ये होना होगा कि पहली बात तो ये है कि यहाँ पे विजिट वीजा पे आप आ सकते हैं इजीली। आप इसमें आपको यहाँ आने के वीजा रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है। अगर आपके पास अमेरिकन वीजा 6 मंथ्स का वैलिड है तो आपको मैक्सिको में आने के लिए वीजे की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको उसी पे एंट्री मिल जाएगी फॉर द 3 मंथ्स। ठीक है जी, ये तो है विजिट के लिए। बाकी यहाँ पे आपको बिजनेस वीजा के लिए आपको यहाँ पे किसी भी कंपनी के साथ वो करना पड़ेगा, उनको वो आपको स्पॉन्सर करेंगे तो फिर इमिग्रेशन आपको वो बिजनेस कैटेगरी में वो वीजे को ट्रांसफर कर सकेगी, या आपको वो प्रोसीजर जो है वो इमिग्रेशन आपको, क्योंकि आए दिन आजकल लॉ चेंज हो रहे हैं तो उस सिलसिले में आपको दोबारा उसको फॉलो करना पड़ेगा। कोई इतना बिग प्रोसेस नहीं है वीजा बिजनेस वीजा लेने के लिए, लेकिन इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं कि आपको यहाँ पे रहना पड़ता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप वीजा लेके चले जाएं तो फिर आप बाद में 6 महीने के बाद या 1 साल के बाद आप आ जाएं तो वो वीजा आपका एक्सपायर हो जाएगा, फिर आपको स्टार्ट से वो दोबारा नए सिरे से प्रोसेस शुरू करना पड़ेगा, वो वीजा पहले वाला आपका कैंसिल हो जाएगा। ये एक यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आपको है, यहाँ पे रुकना पड़ेगा, रहना पड़ेगा, फिर आपको यहाँ पे बिजनेस करना है, क्योंकि आपने बिजनेस करना है, यहाँ रह के बिजनेस करना है। इनकी स्ट्रेटेजी यही है, ये नहीं है कि आप आएंगे, वीजा ले लें, चले जाएं और बिजनेस करें, ऐसा नहीं है यहाँ पे। और एक और क्वेश्चन है, ये तो हो गया वीजे के मुतालिक। नंबर 2, दूसरा क्वेश्चन है कि काइंडली शेयर योर रजिस्ट्रेशन एक्सपीरियंस एंड इंफॉर्मेशन विद अस। यू आर राइट, यू आर वेलकम। रजिस्ट्रेशन में आप अगर मुझे क्लैरिफाई कर देते कि किस टाइप की आप रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाना चाहते हैं, डेंटल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाना चाहते हैं, डेंटल की पूरी जो कंप्लीट रेंज है उसकी, या सर्जिकल की, जिसको हम सर्जिकल कहते हैं, यहाँ पे इसको मेडिकल कहते हैं, उसकी कराना चाहते हैं, या मेडिकल डिवाइसेस की करवाना चाहते हैं। ये 3-4 कैटेगरीज हैं, इनको आपने डिफाइन नहीं किया, लेकिन मुझे थोड़ा सा फील हो रहा है कि आप डेंटल या सर्जिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स के बारे में, रजिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में पूछना चाह रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं अपनी थोड़ी सी ऑब्जर्वेशन के तहत वो आपको बता दूं। नंबर 1, जो डेंटल की रजिस्ट्रेशन है वो तकरीबन 7 कैटेगरीज में आती हैं। उसके लिए आपको मैक्सिको में एक, चाहे वो डेंटल की हो या मेडिकल की हो, दोनों की रजिस्ट्रेशन का प्रोसेस एक ही है। नंबर 1, उसमें आपको सबसे पहले मैक्सिको की जो यहाँ पे एग्जिस्ट कर रही है फर्म, जो कि यहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड है, जो टैक्स पे कर रही है, 1 साल उसको यहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड हो गया हुआ है, वो कंपनी जो है वो आपकी रजिस्ट्रेशन करवा सकती है। वो आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेगी पाकिस्तान वाली कंपनी से कि जी हमें यहाँ पे आपके कंपनी के लिए परमिशन चाहिए। वो परमिशन जो वही रजिस्ट्रेशन कहलाती है, वो कोफे प्रीस से मिलती है, वो देंगे इस चीज की परमिशन, उसको आप रजिस्ट्रेशन कहते हैं, यहाँ पे उसको परमिशन कहते हैं। वेल, नंबर 1, उसके लिए डॉक्यूमेंटेशन आपको क्या चाहिए? डॉक्यूमेंट उसमें काफी सारे आपको चाहिए होते हैं, और उसको मैं आपको बता देता हूं। नंबर 1, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस, कि आप जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं वो कौन से स्टेनलेस स्टील की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं, उस स्टेनलेस स्टील को कितने डिग्री पे आपने टेम्पर देते हैं, उस स्टेनलेस स्टील को आप कैसे, किस तरीके से प्रोसेस करते हैं, उसकी पॉलिशिंग, उसकी मोल्डिंग, उसकी ग्राइंडिंग, उसकी जो भी आपके पास जितने भी प्रोसेसेस हैं, मेरे पास तो उसके 32 प्रोसेस है जो कि मैंने यहाँ पे फॉलो आउट किए हैं। 32 प्रोसेस हैं हमारे यहाँ। डेंटल की शोबे में आ जाता है, क्योंकि हमारे जो डेंटल फॉर्सेप्स हैं उनकी एक डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ थिकनेस है। वो जो हमारे जो हम जो यूज करते हैं स्टेनलेस स्टील, उसकी डिफरेंट थिकनेस है, उसको डिफरेंट टेम्पर आती है, उसका डिफरेंट स्टेनलेस स्टील है। उसके बाद ऑर्थोडोंटिक प्लायर्स जो होते हैं हमारे, उसकी डिफरेंट थिकनेस है, डिफरेंट टेम्पर आती है, राइट। उसके बाद हमारी जो जो दूसरे फॉर्सेप्स हैं, जैसे कैले हो गया, मॉस्किटो हो गया, इस किस्म की जो चीजें हैं, इनकी डिफरेंट थिकनेस ऑफ वो स्टेनलेस स्टील है, इसकी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ प्रोसेस है। वेल, उसके बाद सीजर्स आ जाती हैं। सीजर्स के मुतालिक कौन सा स्टेनलेस स्टील हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं, कितने ग्रेड का वो होता है, वो 20 है या वो जौन सा भी है, जैसा भी आप करते हैं वो आपको बताना पड़ेगा, और कौन सी टेम्परिंग आप करते हैं वो भी यहाँ पे बतानी है। प्रोसेस में आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ। नंबर 5 आ जाती है वो जिसे कहते हैं हम, जिसे हम शीट्स कहते हैं। शीट्स में डिफरेंट किस्म की वो हमारी चीजें आती थी, जिसमें इंप्रेशन ट्रेज आ जाती हैं, सर्जिकल वो डेंटल की जो ट्रेज हैं, जो बॉक्सेस हैं, या इस तरह की चीजें आती हैं, काफी सारी चीजें उसमें, वो किस तरह हम यूज करते हैं इनको बताना पड़ेगा। ये आ गया मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस, राइट। एक तो ये हो गया। नंबर 2, आपको बताना पड़ेगा कि आपको मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ पाकिस्तान से एक सर्टिफिकेट लेना पड़ेगा, नो ऑब्जेक्शन सर्टिफिकेट के। आप पाकिस्तान के अलावा ये आपकी जो क्वालिटी है वो रजिस्टर्ड है, आपकी क्वालिटी अप्रूव्ड है, वो आपने करवा के उस सर्टिफिकेट को मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ से लेने हैं। जो जैसे कि किसी भी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ से, सियालकोट या पंजाब से या इस्लामाबाद से या किसी भी जगह से आपने वो सर्टिफिकेट लेना है। अच्छा जी, उसके बाद आपने देना है इनको सर्टिफिकेट, लिब्रे कमर्सियो को क्या कहेंगे जी हम उसमें, लिब्रे कमर्सियो, फ्री सेल, जी जी जी, वो एक और होगा फ्री सेल सर्टिफिकेट। वो फ्री सेल सर्टिफिकेट उसका मतलब ये होगा कि पाकिस्तान वाली जो कंपनी है वो मैक्सिको वाली कंपनी को इजाजत देगी कि आप मेरे इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को मैक्सिको में बिल्कुल आपको सेल करने की इजाजत है, उसमें आप फ्री हो, आपको सेल करने की इजाजत है, हम इसमें कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं करते। वो एक आपको लेना पड़ेगा, वो अटेस्ट करवाना पड़ेगा आपको मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ सियालकोट से या किसी भी आपकी रिलेटेड जो भी ऑफिस है जो आपका, वहां से करवाना पड़ेगा। अच्छा जी, नंबर 5 एक और आएगा आपको para que uno de comercio libre y otro para ISO सर्टिफिकेट आजकल तो वो आ गया मेरे ख्याल 85 1347 समथिंग लाइक दिस, वो नया आजकल आया हुआ है, क्योंकि मैं पाकिस्तान से काफी दूर हूं तो इसलिए वो मेरे पास तो वो हैं। वो आपको क्वालिटी कंट्रोल कह सकते हैं हम उसको, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल सर्टिफिकेट जो है ना वो भी आपको, ये 5-6 सर्टिफिकेट जो हैं ये आपको बनाने पड़ेंगे। ये इनकी प्रोसेसिंग ये है, मेडिकल के लिए भी, डेंटल के लिए भी। मैनिक्योर पेडिक्योर के लिए आपको कोई रजिस्ट्रेशन की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई परमिशन की जरूरत नहीं है, वो आप डायरेक्टली भेज सकते हैं, उसमें कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। बाकी दूसरों के लिए आपको जरूरत है। अच्छा, ये आपने सबसे पहले वहां से बनवा के, ये रजिस्ट्रेशन की मैं आपको जो डिटेल आपने मांगी है मैं वो बता रहा हूँ, वो आपने लेने हैं। उसके बाद आपने चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स से उसको टेस्ट करवाना है। उसके बाद फिर आपने नोटरी पब्लिक, ओथ कमिश्नर नहीं, नोटरी पब्लिक से इसको टेस्ट करवाना है। उसके बाद आपने इसको मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फॉरेन अफेयर से टेस्ट करवाना है। मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फॉरेन अफेयर से करवाने के बाद फिर आपने इसको मैक्सिकन एम्बेसी विच इज अवेलेबल ओनली इन ईरान, किसी दूसरे मुल्क की एम्बेसी उसको ऑथराइजेशन नहीं है कि वो पाकिस्तान का डॉक्यूमेंट अटेस्ट करे, ये आपको ईरान से करवाना पड़ेगा। वो ईरान वाले करेंगे। वो आपने यहाँ की जो आपकी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव कंपनी है जो मैक्सिको में एग्जिस्ट कर रही है, जिसने आपसे रिक्वेस्ट की थी डॉक्यूमेंट्स की, आपने उनको भेजने हैं। वो फिर इसकी ट्रांसलेशन करवाएंगे स्पेनिश में, वो फिर आगे वो सबमिट करेंगे। ठीक है जी, बशर्ते कि उसमें आपने कोई ऑब्जेक्शनेबल वर्ड्स नहीं लिखे, या जो पहले आपको उसके ड्राफ्टिंग लेनी पड़ेगी, करनी पड़ेगी, ताकि उस तरीके से आप सर्टिफिकेट बनवा सके। ये तो हो गया जी रजिस्ट्रेशन का सर्टिफिकेट। अब आपको मैं बताता हूं इस पे खर्चा कितना आएगा, ये भी आप जरा देख लीजिएगा। खर्चा वो करना है यहाँ की कंपनी ने, वो जो भी कुछ करना है। नंबर 1, इसकी लीगल जो फीस होती है, लीगल फीस डेंटल में आएंगे 7 कैटेगरीज, 7 परमिशंस आएंगी डेंटल की। मेडिकल की जो परमिशंस है वो आएंगी 21 परमिशंस मेडिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की। ठीक है जी, उसकी 21 कैटेगरीज हैं। डेंटल की जो है वो 7 कैटेगरीज हैं। अच्छा, फीस इनकी तकरीबन मिलती जुलती है। नंबर 1, फीस जो है लीगल फीस जो कि हमने जमा करवानी है गवर्नमेंट के ऑफिस में, वो अप्रोक्सीमेटली 25,000 यहाँ के उसमें तकरीबन $1,500 आपने उसकी फीस जो है ना वो जमा करवानी है गवर्नमेंट के खाते में एक रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए। अच्छा, उसमें आपको वकील को जो पैसे देने हैं वो तकरीबन आपके लगेंगे अप्रोक्सीमेटली एक रजिस्ट्रेशन के, वकील के लिए जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स तैयार करने हैं, आपने तो दिए चंद डॉक्यूमेंट्स, 5, 6, 7 डॉक्यूमेंट्स, 10 डॉक्यूमेंट्स आपने दिए। अब वकील ने इतना पलंदा बनाना है उसका फाइलों का, वो आपसे वसूल करेगा तकरीबन $20,000 पर रजिस्ट्रेशन। ये आप सेल में रखिएगा, अप्रोक्सीमेटली 25 to 30,000 $, ये आपकी एक रजिस्ट्रेशन पे यहां मैक्सिको में उसके एक्सपेंसेस आएंगे। ठीक है जी, डेंटल की रजिस्ट्रेशन अगर होगी मुकम्मल तो आप पाकिस्तान से इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स भेज सकते हैं, अदरवाइज आप सैंपल भी नहीं भेज सकते। यहां पे उसको कोई नहीं छुड़ाएगा, छुड़ा ही नहीं सकता, कस्टम से वापस चले जाएंगे या कस्टम में डंप हो जाएंगे, वो नहीं आपको देंगे। आजकल कानून बहुत सख्त कर दिया उन्होंने। ठीक है जी, वो आपको कराना पड़ेगा, उसके बगैर आप सैंपल भी नहीं भेज सकते किसी क्लाइंट को यहाँ पे। तो आपको पहले क्लाइंट ढूंढना पड़ेगा, या आप फिजिकली यहाँ पे आके अपनी कंपनी बनाएं, वो कंपनी फिर पाकिस्तान से डॉक्यूमेंट लाइसेंस कर सकते हैं। ये तो उसका है प्रोसेस। इसी तरह मेडिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की 21, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया 21 रजिस्ट्रेशन है, उसी $30,000 को 21 से वो मल्टीप्लाई कर लीजिए तो आपको समझ आ जाएगी कि एक रजिस्ट्रेशन के कितने पैसे लगते हैं। ठीक है जी, ये तो है मेडिकल में। अच्छा जी, अब इसके बाद तीसरा क्वेश्चन था मेरे दोस्त ने किया कि जी can you tell if we send samples, did their taxes apply and how much we calculate? जी, अगर तो मेडिकल या डेंटल के सैंपल्स रजिस्ट्रेशन के मुतालिक, टेक्सटाइल के मुतालिक ये चीजें जो है इनका कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अगर आप सैंपल्स भेजते हैं तो उसको फ्री नो कमर्शियल वैल्यू करके आप उसको कर दें तो मेरा ख्याल है कि वो रिलीज हो सकते हैं, उसमें कोई इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी। सिर्फ यहाँ पे असल में इन्होंने इसको एक तरीकाकार जो है वो एफडीए के बराबर इसको कर रहे हैं। जब से ये नाफ्टा शाफ्टा आया ना, तो नाफ्टा के चक्कर में ये मैक्सिको के हर मामले को ये काफी इन्होंने अपडेट किया है। ठीक है जी, तो इसको भी ये, क्योंकि मैं जब आया था तो उस वक्त को रजिस्ट्रेशन भी कोई नहीं होती थी, हल्की सी परमिशन होती थी। फिर उसके बाद आ गई, इनके महकमे का नाम बन गया जी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ को, ये कहने लग गए जी ये था सेलुब्रिदाद, वो कुछ अरसा चली। अब जब से ये नाफ्टा बना है, नॉर्थ फ्री ट्रेड एसोसिएशन जब से बनी है, कनाडा, मैक्सिको और यूएसए जब मिलके बने हैं, उस वक्त से इन्होंने इसको अपने एफडीए के लेवल पे लाने के लिए ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं। ठीक है जी, अब ये मैक्सिको में बहुत सख्त इन्होंने कानून कर दिया है इस मामले में, एफडीए से भी ज्यादा सख्त है। मेरी एफडीए की ऑलरेडी रजिस्ट्रेशन है, मैं ऑलरेडी अमेरिका में काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं ऑलरेडी मैक्सिको में काम कर रहा हूँ, इसलिए मैं आपको ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रीक्वेंटली दे सकता हूँ क्योंकि मैंने अपने हाथों से ये सब कुछ किया है। ठीक है जी, तो इसके अलावा कोई और क्वेश्चन हो, किसी भाई का कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो वो मेरे से पूछ सकते हैं, मैं आपको आंसर दूंगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Hello.
Now we have a question for Roberto, and it's speaker said that leather market is especially controlled by Mexican government. Then how we can launch our leather garments in Mexico, and most importantly, it will be better if you can share list of potential buyers information.
Sí, lo que es el sector del cuero no está tan controlado como el sector calzado. A lo mejor ahí hay una confusión. El sector calzado es el que tiene más restricciones para poder hacer la importación.
Mr. Roberto is saying that it may be a little confusion because the sector that is protected by government is the footwear. Mr. Roberto is saying that leather is not that protected.
Es el sector de las pieles y cueros es más, tiene menos restricciones, pero si en dado momento quisieran tener algún contacto con dos ferias importantes. Hay dos ferias que se presentan en México.
So Mr. Roberto is saying that he knows people from two different leather fairs and expos that he may share contact of that.
Yes. Por ejemplo, para el sector calzado está la feria de Zapica.
For footwear, there is Zapica Fair.
Es la más grande feria de calzado tanto en México como en Latinoamérica.
So this fair is the biggest fair in Mexico and Latin America for footwear.
Ahí los podemos apoyar en que puedan presentar sus productos o tener un acercamiento para esta feria.
Mr. Roberto is able to help you approaching this fair in order for you to
Otra feria
the other important fair in Mexico is AMPIC.
Es la que se lleva a cabo todo lo que es la proveeduría del calzado, entre ellas lo que es son pieles, cueros, maquinaria, partes para calzado.
In MPIC, you can find from machinery to leather and footwear parts.
Tenemos una relación muy cercana en estas dos ferias y podemos sin lugar a duda apoyarlos para poderse acercar a estas ferias.
Mr. Roberto has a close relation with these fairs for you to support if you want to approach them.
Ahora, si tienen algún producto que ustedes quieran que podamos conseguirles algunos clientes potenciales, con gusto, sin ningún problema, los podemos apoyar con eso.
Mr. Roberto says that he also gladly help you trying to reach potential buyers.
Y también podemos estarlos auxiliando en darles más información de estas ferias, que son sin duda las dos ferias más, que les pudieran llegar a interesar.
He also is open to share information about these two expos and fairs that are the main expos in Mexico.
Si tienen alguna pregunta más en específico de algún producto, les pido me envíen las fotografías del producto y la ficha técnica.
If you have any further questions regarding footwear or leather, please send an email to Mr. Roberto with pictures and technical letters.
Y darle un seguimiento uno a uno con cada uno de los.
So he can make a follow-up, personally follow-up with each party which is concerned.
Thank you.
Ji, Saeed Sahab. Hello. Saeed Rahman Sahab.
Sir.
Can you hear me?
Sure, sir.
I introduce myself. I am a Ijaz Khokhar representing Pakistan Ready-Made Garment Association. Okay.
Sir.
I like to ask a few questions to हमारे जो मालिक साहब हैं. Can you please bring him on the screen so I could ask few questions to him regarding the ready-made garment business in Mexico?
इजाज साहब, अगर आप हमें ये क्वेश्चंस इन राइटिंग भेज दें तो उस पे ये है कि हमें जवाब उसका प्रॉपर देने का थोड़ा सा मौका भी मिल जाएगा. और दूसरा
it is just मैं अभी आपको verbally इतना उनसे मेरी इंटरेक्शन करा दे if he is here, otherwise I will write a email to you more in detail.
चलें आप शॉर्टली अपना क्वेश्चन पूछें.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम जनाब.
जी मालिक साहब क्या हाल है? मैं भी सियालकोट से बिलोंग करता हूँ.
You welcome sir.
सर अपना सवाल पूछिए.
I represent Pakistan Ready-Made Garment Association.
जी.
My question is, we are interested to market the denim because a lot of our members produce very high quality denim jeans, exporting all over the world. And secondly, Sialkot is the second biggest country in the world producing the martial arts uniform, judo karate uniform. Do you think there is any scope of the martial arts uniform to marketing in Mexico?
ये आपके दो क्वेश्चन है जी. नंबर वन क्वेश्चन डेनिम के मुतालिक ये है कि डेनिम जो ना यहाँ पे इसकी बहुत ज्यादा मार्केट है. हमारे दोस्त है जो कि कराची से जिनका ताल्लुक था, मैं उनको जानता हूँ, वो यहाँ पे अच्छा खासा डेनिम का बिजनेस करते थे और पता नहीं अब नहीं कर रहे वो. लेकिन ये है कि सियालकोट में से मैंने किसी को करते हुए अभी तक यहाँ पे किसी दोस्त को नहीं देखा. लेकिन डेनिम की यहाँ पे अच्छी खासी मार्केट है. वो आपको आके देखना पड़ेगा, सर्च करना पड़ेगा, वो आपको सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हैं. नंबर वन. नंबर टू, ये जो जुडो कराटे के जो सूट्स हैं, जैसे मार्शल आर्ट्स के सूट आप बता रहे हैं, एक्चुअली ये मैक्सिको में और ये स्टिच करते हैं, यहाँ पे ये बनते हैं. उसमें आपको ज्यादा सक्सेस नहीं मिलेगी क्योंकि ये इनकी अपनी मार्केट भी ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट कर रही है. तो अच्छा चांस आपको नहीं मिलेगा. आई नो, मेरे कुछ फैमिली मेंबर्स, कुछ दोस्त, मेरे रिश्तेदार ये करते हैं, लेकिन वो सारे यूरोप में करते हैं, यूएसए में करते हैं, वहां पे उनको अच्छी खासी चांसेस मिलते हैं उनको. लेकिन मैक्सिको में ये आपको जुडो कराटे के बारे में वो इतना सक्सेसफुल आप नहीं हो सकेंगे. लेकिन डेनिम वेरी गुड मार्केट, यू गॉट वेरी गुड मार्केट इन मैक्सिको.
तो इसके लिए कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन तो नहीं है मैक्सिको में, क्योंकि मैं बात कर रहा हूँ हमारे लाहौर में काफी मेंबर हैं, कराची में भी हमारे प्रिग्निया के मेंबर हैं, जो कि डेनिम फैक्ट्री वर्टिकल यूनिट्स भी हैं, उनके लार्ज बिजनेस स्केल है, तो वो मेरा मतलब है कि इंटरेस्टेड हैं कि हमें नई मार्केट
मैं आपको
में
बताता हूँ जी मैं आपको बताता हूँ। डेनिम आती है दो कंडीशन में, दो चीजों में आती है डेनिम। एक आती है ओपन, जिसे हम थान कहते हैं, थान में भी यहाँ आती है डेनिम, उसमें स्टिचिंग होके भी आती है। किसी भी रजिस्टर्ड ट्रेडमार्क को आप यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट करने के लिए आपको बड़ी मुश्किल होगी, उसके लिए आपको सर्टिफिकेशन, परमिशन और ये और वो चाहिए होती है उस पे। और ओपन डेनिम जो होती है उसमें जो खुला कपड़ा है उसमें, और स्टिचिंग वाले डेनिम में कुछ टैक्सेस में भी फर्क है, लेकिन दोनों की मार्केट है इधर, यहाँ पे दोनों की मार्केट है।
ओके, लेकिन मैं बात कर रहा हूँ गारमेंट्स की, डेनिम जीन्स की, खुले कपड़े की
मैं
नहीं।
बात कर रहा हूँ जी, जो मैं डेनिम जीन्स की बात कर रहा हूँ जो ब्लू वाली है।
हाँ, तो उस पे ड्यूटी, कस्टम ड्यूटी कोई, डू यू हैव एन आइडिया कितनी ड्यूटी है?
ड्यूटी अप्रोक्सीमेटली 60% प्लस 15%, ये तो मस्ट है। उसके बाद ये क्लीनिंग एजेंट जो उसके चार्जेस कर लें।
ओके,
लेकिन दोनों में डिफरेंस है, दोनों में थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है। जो खुला कपड़ा है उसमें भी थोड़ा सा टैक्स का फर्क है। 16% जो टैक्स है ना, जो इनका वो जिसे हम सेल्स टैक्स कहते हैं, उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं है, लेकिन 16% में थोड़ा सा फर्क आ सकेगा, जो कि खुला कपड़ा है उसमें और स्टिचिंग वाले कपड़े में, उसमें ये उसमें मामूली सा उसमें फर्क आ सकता है माइनस।
अच्छा, मैं एक चीज लास्ट क्वेश्चन, कि मैक्सिमो में अगर इंपोर्ट होती है तो दे कैन एक्सपोर्ट टू अदर कंट्री एज वेल, वहां से री एक्सपोर्ट हो सकती है, ये कोई कंडीशनल है?
लेकिन आपको यहाँ पे खुद बैठना पड़ेगा आके, फिर आप कर सकते हैं। आपके क्लाइंट तो पता नहीं कर सकेंगे कि नहीं कर सकेंगे। मैं तो आपको मैक्सिको की इंपोर्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ।
नहीं, कंपनी बना के आप एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हो दूसरे कंट्रीज को,
सारी दुनिया में कर सकते हैं आप।
ओके, ऑलराइट, ठीक है।
इस पे इजाज साहब, हमने ऑलरेडी टेक्सटाइल के सेक्टर में मकीरादोरा की पॉलिसी
जी,
कवर की है मैक्सिको गवर्नमेंट की, और अगर आप चाहते हैं तो हम उसकी डिटेल भी आपको भेज देंगे। ये प्रोजेक्ट बेसिकली यही है कि आप अपनी प्रोडक्ट जो है टेक्सटाइल की वो मैक्सिको में प्रोड्यूस करें और उसको आप री एक्सपोर्ट जो फर्दर मार्केट्स हैं उनमें कर सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर आपको डिटेल में अपनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए तो आप हमें एक ईमेल लिख दें जिसमें डिटेल सारी आपकी क्वेरीज हों। उस पर यह है कि हम एग्जैक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन जितनी भी है वो लेके आपके साथ और बाकी जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उनके साथ शेयर कर देंगे। Now I would like to go back to Mr. Luis. He has a couple of questions. He would like to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Said. There are two questions for me. There are a lot of people asking about the third-party logistic companies that may put things on e-commerce platforms. Yes, we know a company, we have a partner that, of course, if you are interested in doing this third-party thing, you can email the embassy or email either the commercial section, and we can gladly put you in contact with this logistic company. Now, Mr. Said also has a few questions. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Luis. There are a couple of questions which I would rather answer. The first one is about the visa, which Mr. Malik has already responded to, but I would like to give some additional details. We have been trying to negotiate with Mexican government that it is not possible for citizens to go to Tehran every time to get the visa. So after a lot of efforts by the embassy, now Mexican government has allowed all its embassies and consulates all over the world. Pakistanis can go to any of Mexican embassy or consulate to get the visa. You can always visit their email, their website to get further details on that. Raul has already shared the link of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mexico, where you can find the requirements of each type of visa. In addition to that, if you have a Schengen visa or US visa, which is valid for more than 6 months, you can visit Mexico without requiring any visa. You will get an entry for 3 months. So I hope that satisfies your questions regarding the visa. There are a couple of questions on the chat which are not directly related to the sectors which we have covered today. They are regarding the jewelry, gemstones, frozen foods. There is a huge potential for that. For frozen foods, I would like to comment shortly that if your company is already producing your product in USA, then you can get in touch with all the US retailers who have their branches, who control the market here in Mexico. They can bring your product directly to the Mexican market. There is another way to get your product here in Mexico, which is through the fast food chains. They bring their product from the USA directly over here. You can get in touch. All the US fast food restaurants are available in Mexico. They get their products from USA. About the jewelry and gemstones, yes, there is a huge market here. There are a lot of Pakistanis who are involved in this market, particularly in silver. We would have another session maybe in next couple of months. We would be talking to Pakistani businessmen here so that they prepare a detailed briefing how you can import your product here in Mexico. Whether there are any requirements, particular requirements of the market, and how much are jewelry designs and gem designs, they are appreciated in the local market. There are a couple of other questions which are not directly related to the sectors. We will be going back to those through the email addresses. So don't worry if your questions have not been answered so far. We will get back to you through the email address. You can always reach to the embassy through our email addresses. You can contact us directly through our telephone numbers. Email, I think, would be the best option. This way, we can give you detailed answer with exact information. If there are any rules or regulation which are available in Spanish language, we will be able to translate them for you. Mr. Luis is available in the embassy every day. He can help you with that. Mr. Malak is available. I have already shared his card details. You have his mobile phone number, his email address. You can directly contact him, have a conversation. If you need detailed answer to your questions, you can send in an email as well. If you need to get in touch with any of the participants, we have their contact details. I think, yeah, they are now on your screens. You can note them down. You can directly reach to them. We would very much appreciate if you keep our email address in the CC as well, so that if you are not able to provide exact details or not able to understand the answer, we can get in touch with them. We can talk to them in Spanish. And at the final of my speak, I would like to invite all the participants to come over the screen so that I can thank them.
Inform them about the difference of the time, because everybody this is the most important.
Yes, and finally, I have to tell you that it is 2 a.m. in morning here in Mexico City. We have our presenters here with you. I would
minus 10 hours.
Invite everybody over so that you can see all our team, which was present here till 8 p.m. We had a dinner, and then we were preparing all these preparations to have a conversation with you. Our team is currently on screen in front of you. I would like to thank them in Spanish language as well. Muchísimas gracias a ustedes todos que vinieron acá en la embajada a esta hora en la noche. Está muy tarde, todas las familias les están esperando, pero le agradecemos muchísimo que vinieron, nos apoyaron todos los empresarios de Pakistán, darle información de varios sectores de economía mexicana, y esperamos que nos sigamos con esta plática en los meses que vienen. Y si hay unas preguntas y se llegan a los correos, esperamos que le van a responder muy bien. Y si necesitan cualquier tipo de apoyo de la embajada, pues nosotros sigamos acá. Nosotros somos sus amigos, nosotros somos sus familias, entonces pues nos quedamos. And now I would get back to the TDAP. Sir, could you please wind up this session? Thank you very much.
Saisab, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to have a very insightful interaction with the mission and the presenters, and especially the participants who have participated from all over the country. And I hope this webinar would be useful to get into the Mexican market And we plan to hopefully in the future we will have more sessions regarding the Latin American market, so that our exporters and manufacturers get the relevant information. From the webinar, we see that there is many registration procedures and this. So we would like to the mission to have this information to be shared with the TDLP. We put that all information on our website so that our experts are readily available to avail that information from our website and to get information about the Mexico. I'm really grateful for all the participants, especially our colleagues and the guest speakers who are in Mexico right in the 2 a.m. in the morning. I really appreciate their efforts for giving us the useful information regarding the Mexico. Thank you very much.